house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Douglas Vonada, or Vonada. I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again, and if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. And yes, if you're new here, sometimes I wear a towel because I am fresh out of the shower, and I don't need to show you my Gollum look with wet hair. Okay, so when we left off yesterday, Tommy was organizing BB's next big look. It was like a modeling fashion competition, which is, I think it's really fun when they do stuff like this. I was just like kind of surprised that they were doing this on a Wednesday, the day before eviction, and also like during the middle of the day. It was just weird. I feel like this stuff usually is best at night, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really surprised that Big Brother didn't tell them to save this for like an after dark time period, you know what I mean? It had after dark written all over it. But anyway, they had a house meeting to decide who's doing what for the show, for the competition. So they decided Tommy's gonna be the host. The judges were Nicole, Sam, and Jackson. There were 3 designers, Kat, Bella, and Jack. They each got to pick 2 models. So they did a model draft, and when it all shook out, Bella had Christy and Sis, Kat chose Holly and Jess, and Jack chose Cliff and Nick. So then everyone was getting ready for this competition. Even some of the judges were getting dressed up. Sam was wearing extensions under his hat, which was hilarious. Nicole had her hair braided, like cornrows. And Jackson was napping on the living room couch while everyone was getting ready. He's a have-not. Why is he not getting yelled at to wake up? Where's the house guest? No napping. I mean, really, whatever. So all the judges had their own characters. Sam was this like Broadway dancer. Again, the hair just cracked me up. Nicole was this like British judge, and she had really funny critiques. I gotta give it to her. She really killed it. Jackson was like I guess he was like a MAGA type? I don't know. I think he was supposed to be like the mean one. So then there was a big twist. I mentioned that each designer had 2 models. So the models were competing against their partner to make it to the final round. So Bella's models came out first, one at a time. And I guess the inspiration for her collection was neon. Christy had this like androgynous blazer look with like, I guess it was like a bathing suit under, or maybe it was underwear, I don't know. But she had like a low bun, dark lip, and like this interesting eye makeup. So she got a 23, and then they were judging on a scale of 1 to 10. You were allowed to use decimals. And Sis came out next. She was wearing like a basketball outfit. I guess it was like a guy's outfit because it was like really big on her or whatever. She had like these red freckles, 2 high buns, and she had a chain and hoops. So she only got an 18.9, which means Christy was moving on to the next round, and somebody is mowing the lawn outside. Okay, so after each round, Tommy would interview the eliminated model and the designer. So that was fun. Tommy could never think of questions to ask them though. It was kind of funny. So then Kat's models came out next. I think she said her theme was like camp. I guess she watched the Met Gala, Met Ball, whatever. But this was more like summer camp. I mean, it was campy too, but I think it was supposed to be more like outdoorsy. So Jess comes out. She's wearing, and Jess, keep in mind, is like an actual model, so she knew what she was doing. She had this like trash bag skirt, a crop top, this huge ass tribal tattoo on her arm, ferns woven into her hair, red eyeshadow that was like here, and she was working it. And then Holly came out. Oh, she got a 24.5, by the way. And then Holly came out next. She was also in like a crop top. She had a high-waisted like open front skirt, so it wasn't like a full skirt. Imagine like a cape, but around the waist. You know what I mean? And then yeah, like underwear, a bolo tie, and a log that she was holding like a gun. Okay. And she also had the red eyeshadow and the ferns in her hair. So Jackson had like a freaking boner for Holly. She was scoring lower than Jess, and then Jackson was like, ooh, 9.6. And he said, I was gonna give her a 6.9, but that would have been too low. Get it? Because like he's trying to make a sex joke. Okay. He could not stop talking about like, oh my god, there's not enough baseball in the world. What? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, after some issues with math, these house guests realized, okay, Jess is moving on to the next round. I believe Holly got like a 24.1 or something. According to my math, that did not agree with the house guests, but from the scores, when I added them up, she got a 24.1. So one more round before the finals. Jack's models were up next, and I guess his theme was minimalism. So Nick came out first, and he had an all gray outfit, which Jack was calling Groutfit. That was pretty funny. There was like a fur, I hope it was fake, I'm assuming it was, and Nick was doing this weird ass walk. It was hilarious though. If you guys have BB Viewer, I can't remember the timestamp, but if you have BB Viewer, it's on the bookmarks page, and he was wearing makeup, and he ended up stripping down to his undies. I don't think that was planned. Jack said that he did not know that that was gonna happen, but he applauded it. It was pretty funny. So he got a 27.3. And then Cliff came out, he was the last one, and his outfit was supposed to be like Lone Star, like an ode to Texas or something. So he was wearing these like black briefs, no shirt, a poncho with tassels, a cowboy hat, and he was holding Orwell, who was wearing like a blue bandana to match. So he also ended up getting a 27.3, which means they were tied. So then they had a 10-second twerk off to decide who the winner was from that round. Oh my god, that was a lot. But Cliff was chosen to move on. So then I just want to point out this one interview question. So Tommy was interviewing Nick, and he was like, all right, questions from the judges. So Sam asked him, Nick, if you could rid the world of one thing, what would it be? After thinking about it for a moment, Nick says, racism. Ah, that's ironic for this season. Okay, so anyway, moving on to the final round. Tommy announces, excuse me, that this final round, each model is gonna do an interpretive dance with no music, and they have to tell the story of their platform. This just makes me think of Jamae, Private School Girl, when they're doing the interpretive dances and the classmate is doing the one about the flood with like the sandbags. That's what it reminded me of. But anyway, let me know in the comments if you guys watched that show. So you weren't allowed to say like what it was. It had to be obvious to everyone watching. Okay, so Cliff's was life from birth to death. It was pretty interesting. Christy's was like supposed to be equality, so she was doing like some masculine moves, some feminine moves, and then Jess came out with this crazy like tribal dance. She was really getting into it, she was really selling it, and I guess hers was supposed to be like saving the ocean or something. It was kind of catty in a way, and it came from Kat. Kat was the designer for Jess and also Holly, and when they were interviewing Kat, she was talking about like her platform, and she was kind of making a dig at Kemi, which I thought was a little unnecessary. She was all like, oh, I don't like getting my hands wet, but I want to save the oceans, which is like things that Kemi would talk about. So it's just like, really, like she's not even in the house anymore and you guys can't stop talking about her? Come on. So Jess got a standing ovation after her dance, and she won the whole thing with a unanimous vote. Okay, a little bit later, maybe let's play the game a little, I don't know. So now that we have that out of the way, Jack was campaigning to Jess in the boat lounge, and it was more so Jess talking, which I think happens a lot. But Jess is like, oh, I know that you put me up on the block, but I could never trust Bella. Jack mentions that, you know, Jess had that Black Widows thing with Bella, and look what happened there, she blew it up. And Jess is like, yeah, I know. So Jack tells Jess, yeah, the 6 that voted together last week, we're not working together. He's trying to say, oh, we were just standing up for Nicole. That was just for that vote. We weren't and aren't all working together. Come on, man, really? Honestly, though, if anyone were to actually believe that, it would be Jess, right? I mean, she doesn't seem to know what's going on here so much. So then Jess is talking about how she's trying to compete against herself. What? Is that what's happening? I can only listen to so much because it just doesn't make a lot of sense, but what you need to know is Jess is planning on keeping Jack. Okay, so then later, Bella was chatting with Nicole in the treehouse, and Sam and Nick were there as well, but it was mostly just Bella and Nicole chatting. And they say, you know, it's not looking good for Kat's vote. It seems like she does not want to keep Bella, but Bella says, all right, I guess I gotta work on Jackson and Holly, because even if I do get Jess's vote, that's only gonna be 4 along with Nick, Sam, and Nicole. So that's not gonna cut it. She feels like she's gotta get Jackson and Holly. So Bella's asking Nicole, has Jackson talked to you about the vote yet? And Nicole says, he's been beating around the bush and it's making me sick to my stomach. She feels really uncomfortable right now because she doesn't know if she should be voting for Bella to stay or not, because if Jackson is just BSing her, she doesn't want to be on the wrong side of the vote, and if he is serious about keeping her, she wants to know because she doesn't want to blow it and not vote for Bella to stay. But she thinks that Jackson might just be messing with Bella. I would agree with that. So then Cliff joins them and Bella says, all right, I'm planning on talking to Jackson again. So she's going through her points, trying to figure out what she's going to say to convince him to keep her. And Cliff is telling her, you know what, I've said this before. If you can get the votes, I'm going to break the tie for you to stay. Just so you know. But he also does not trust Mickey. He feels like he's probably playing some mind games. So Nick is like, you know what? Even if we can't flip the vote this time, and Bella goes, at least Jackson and Holly will have all of Bella's arguments in their head moving forward. You know, about how they're at the bottom of their totem pole, blah, blah, blah. And maybe that'll make them want to make a move sooner rather than later. And hopefully it'll be better for our group moving forward. And Bella's like, yeah, this isn't even about saving me. It's about taking out one of the biggest threats in the game. But also, please save me. Okay, so then Nicole and Sam were chatting alone. And Nicole says, pretty sure Jackson is just effing with Bella. Because Christy came to Nicole and told her, it's not happening. He's not gonna save Bella. Jackson went to Christy and told her all about Bella's campaign strategy and everything, all the points that she was making, and even like the phrase that they're supposed to say if they're gonna go ahead with this vote flip, which is what, like blueberry pancakes or something. So the info is out there, and Christy's telling her, don't vote for Bella to stay because people are gonna be mad at you when you vote against the majority. So Nicole also shares with Sam that Christy is really fed up with Jackson and said that she would put him up if she won HOH. She did say that. So Sam says, yeah, Christy's already said stuff to me like that. She said that she wants Jack and Jackson out. They're not really sure if it's BS or not because Christy seems to be saying different things to different people. So they're not sure if they want to tell Bella what Christy said about Jackson giving her false hope. Nicole's really worried that she's gonna get burned by Bella again, throwing her name around and telling people that she's given away all this information. Yeah, I'd be worried too because everybody knows that Bella's got a huge mouth. So then a little while later, Sam does end up telling Bella about his chat with Nicole, and he's like, just so you know, Christy told Nicole that Mickey and Holly are just effing with you. And Bella's like, I got nothing to lose. She seems to think that there could be a really good chance that she's staying. She doesn't seem super upset here, and she's gonna keep working on it. So Sam says that Nicole is really worried that a vote is gonna be pinned on her again. She's freaking out about that. She doesn't know what to do. But Sam still wants to try and make sure that Nicole and Jess vote Jack out because that will give them 4 votes for Bella to stay. And then if someone does end up throwing a rogue vote out there, it'll be a tie. That would be hilarious. It would be really funny. But it does not seem that Jess is going to be on board to keep Bella, so I don't really see that happening. So, yeah, some quick things here. Nicole is really worried that she's going to get duped with this vote. She feels like Jackson is, you know, possibly playing games with her here so that she ends up on the wrong side of the vote and becomes a target again. So Jess, Christy, and Cliff are all assuring her, like, no, Bella's going to go. Jackson is just messing around and it's not cool. In other news, Nick officially asked Bella to be his girlfriend. He's like, I'm in love with you and I don't want you to worry when we're apart. I don't want to be with anyone else in this whole entire world. So Bella says yes. It'll be interesting to see how he acts with Sis when she's gone. And the house guests made up another game last night. This is gross. Guess whose feet? Ew, I hate feet. So they had a blanket set up in the doorway for the boat lounge, and they would have one person stick a foot under the blanket, and then they had two people on the other side who had to guess whose foot that was. So they were having a lot of fun with that. And then if you loved that, they also played Guess Whose Hands? Same thing, but with hands. So again, they're playing all these crazy games when it's the night before an eviction. You would think people would be campaigning like crazy and talking about the vote like crazy, but they're not doing it. So then some late night stuff. Christy and Tommy were talking about Jackson, and we know all week that there's been some weird stuff going on with Jackson behind the scenes. Big Brother is trying to protect him. He's having some sort of emotional issues or something that he's been dealing with. And he's been cheating on the slop diet, cheating on being a have-not, which is not cool. So Christy says that Jackson is off of all of his meds and he had a nervous breakdown. And he also had some sort of like personal visit in the diary room. Like a doctor? I don't know. But she also mentioned that Big Brother gave them a full restock of all of the foods that he's been requesting for a while now. So like frozen vegetables, watermelons, his powdered peanut butter, all that stuff. What's going on here? So then the feeds change when they start talking about that, and they've been doing that a lot the last few days. Whenever somebody starts talking about Jackson, boom, the feeds change. It's really annoying. So then this morning, Bella was talking to Jackson in the storage room. This seems like her last attempt to stay. So Bella says to him, for my own sanity, could you shoot me straight here? And Jackson says, I can't swing it. I can't get these votes. The votes would not be there even if Holly and I flip, which is not true. They would definitely be there because they would only need Nicole, Sam, and Nick, and they're all down to do it. They're down to clown, but Jackson and Holly are not. So Jackson says if it was those three and then him and Holly, Cliff has made it very clear to him that in the event of a tie, he would vote Bella out. And Bella's like, wait, what? Because Cliff promised her that he would keep her. So he's saying opposite things to the two sides. I'm pretty sure if it came down to it, Cliff would vote Jack out because that's what he really wants. And I don't think he would leave Nicole out there to dry like that. I don't think he would do it. So yeah, Bella's kind of confused because that's not what she heard Cliff say to her. So Jackson says, well, Jack was Cliff's original target and then things changed and now you are, so yeah. But Bella asks him to talk to Cliff again to confirm that, and he says he will. I don't know if he did or not. But Jackson is telling Bella, you made some really valid points. You really got me and Holly thinking and talking about it all. And he's saying, there's just too many unknowns involved. We don't know if the other votes would be there for sure. We don't know if Cliff would keep you for sure. And he says he just cannot vote against Jack. That is his boy, blah, blah, blah. If it was anyone else, he says it would be different. Sure, Jan. So he says that he would rather go up against Jack and lose than go up against somebody else and win. really? Okay. So then Jackson shares that Nick told him some things last night about Christy. What? So I don't think that conversation was on feeds. I didn't see it anywhere. But I did hear multiple references to it. Apparently Nick told Jackson how Christy's been talking crap about him and wants him out. Ah! Okay, which is not a lie because Christy's been saying all that stuff. And I remember she definitely said it to Nick as well, because I remember being like, why is she telling Nick this? Nick is going to tell people because he cannot stand Christy right now and he wants her out. So she really, I think, blew it giving Nick that information. But she was telling him things like, oh, Jackson, I don't like the way he speaks to women. He's really getting on my nerves right now, blah, blah, blah. You know, all the stuff that I mentioned in yesterday's spoiler. So yeah, that stuff is true. And apparently Nick was pissed enough at Christy to tell Jackson all about it. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with that info. But anyway, Kat and Christy were chatting in the Have Not room this morning, and Kat asks her, did you talk to Nick about Jackson? Because now all that information is getting around the house. Christy says, never, no way. Oh, yes, she has. She says that she's not surprised that Nick is trying to turn people against her. Yeah, because he said it. And Kat says, you know, when I heard all these things, these are all things that I've heard you say before about Jackson. And Christy's like, yeah, I'll admit that I said those things, but I never said that stuff to Nick. She did, though. And Kat is saying, well, Nick wasn't my target before, but now he is. What? I would be so pissed if Kat wins HOH and does not go after Jackson like she said that she would. So then, speaking of the drama between Kat and Jackson, there were some raised voices between the two of them in the kitchen this morning. Of course they didn't show it on the feeds, but we could hear some of it in the background of a different camera view. So it sounded like Kat was complaining about Jackson's farts. Okay, I guess things got a little heated. Yeah, I don't know. It was hard to say exactly what happened because the feeds were down for a few minutes after that, so I don't know if there was more yelling or what. But the thing I wanted to mention about that situation too, when they heard the yelling, Christy was brushing her teeth in the bathroom area and she starts kissing Jackson's butt. She's like yelling to him from the bathroom, being like, Jackson, thanks for the coffee. This is the best coffee I've ever had. Oh my God. Now that she knows that this info is getting back to him, she's got to play it real careful here because she doesn't know who's going to win that next HOH. So like I said, the feeds went down for a few minutes, and after they came back, Kat was crying in a corner and being comforted by Tommy. So she tells him, I don't like being yelled at all the time. It's rude. It's disrespectful. So Tommy's like, don't worry. We see it. We have your back. It's okay. And then Jack takes over comforting her and he's like, oh, it's okay. I cry all the time. Did you have a bad dream or something? So he tells her, I think you're great. Okay, cool. So then later, Christy and Sam were chatting, and Christy is quite upset that Nick is trying to drag her down. So she says Nick should be careful because if he thinks, if he wins HOH and thinks he's gonna backdoor her, she's gonna use her power. Even if she's not one of the initial nominees and she thinks she's gonna get backdoored, she will use her power. And she says, in order to backdoor someone, you need votes. I don't know if Nick is aware of my relationships with people in the house. Woo! Okay, so then Christy says, I wish he'd just calm down and realize I'm not against him. Come on, really? And then she basically like threatens Sam. This was like a whoa moment. She says, I'm gonna be completely honest, Sam. I'd never try to come after you, but if Nick won HOH and I felt like he was gonna backdoor me, you know, if he tried to do that and I was onto it, I'd put you up with the power. Ooh, okay, so Sam's like, whoa, that sucks. Like, why me? And Christy's like, I just, you know, you're close to him. I'd have to do it. So she says, Nick better not F around. And then she starts crying and saying that this is all Bella's fault for dropping her name, saying that she wanted to put Christy up on the block. She's like, none of this needed to happen, man, going up. So yeah, she was a lot. She's feeling really confident with this power in her back pocket, but let's not forget, she can only use it if somebody that she trusts wins the veto. Because if like Sam or Nick win the veto, she's not using it. And Nick is determined to get rid of Christy before, or get rid of Christy's power before the double eviction. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how things go in this HOH comp. But Christy also tells Sam that Nick is not gonna have the votes against her if he tries to backdoor her. She's like, no one is gonna vote me out, not even one. And then she's like, all right, maybe one or two. Wow, okay, so anyway, yeah, that's pretty much what happened so far today. We've got the live eviction tonight, which should be exciting, I guess. I don't know. It seems like the votes are going to be 8-2, I would assume, for Bella to go. I feel like Nick and Sam are still going to throw her some votes. At least Nick, right? But I feel like Sam probably would too. He's already associated with them so much, like, who even cares at this point? And then we'll have a new HOH. So let me know in the comments who you guys are rooting for. And until tomorrow, much love.